Hello guys, welcome back to another reaction video here on Our Eyes Your Eyes. I'm ready to watch episode 11 of Baraou no Souretsu, Requiem of the Rose King. But before starting this video, I just want to remind you to subscribe to the channel, click on the notification bell, leave a like to support me, and join me in this great adventure. Okay, in the previous episode, Richard is discovering that Harry is the King of England. Let's see what's going to happen now. Are you ready to join me with this? Check it out. Yes. Oh my. She can't listen right now. Maybe because he wanted to protect you. No, you needed to know many other things, Richard. And he can't because he is emotional right now. No, look, please don't send her to battle in this condition, okay? That's him, yo! You have it in front of you. No, Richard, it was good that you met him. No! Again, no, look. No. Mm. Let's see if it's a way for you to... Oh. And this is bad because nobody cares about her just when it's about to die and to go to battle. No. No, Richard, you should stop listening to this voice in your head. Oh, she discovered. And you don't know what happened. Margaret. Of course she will not. Oh, at least you're honest. So, who was the person you really loved? Eh? No. No, she doesn't love Edward. She loves somebody else. Why do you want the same future for her? This is so bad. Okay, is this something for good than usual? Oh, come on! Oh, come on! Every time in God's name, it was like this at that time, but that's so ridiculous. Here we go again. And Annie's listening, I mean. I think it's something good. So Margaret this time was playing the role of the mom who wants to save the son. So this is what you all want. Whoa! Let's see what Richard is planning right now. Yeah, 100 years. I mean, I don't think this will be the last battle, of course. As always, the revenge of what happened previously. So they moved on the other side instead of moving frontally. No, no, it's your mother's doing. I mean, Anna just followed what she said. Wow, he's going without the armor? Who's coming? No, no, who's this? Oh! No! Of course, you're without an armor. Eh? And because he likes you, I mean, he loves you. No, no. Whoa! What? Oh, what the F? And it's also Henry's son, I mean. Oh, but she didn't kill him, man. What the F? Look, this is endless. Oh! Huh? Oh. Oh no, Edward is listening to this, yeah. What the F? No, Anna, no, now she's going to meet with Richard. At this point it could be possible. That was her when Margaret was saying, I will instruct to be, I mean, for you to be followed by Edward. That's why Margaret is terrible, definitely, but... Oh, no, 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 no! No! Here we go! No! No, it's not Edward, no! Oh! He's Edward! What? No, it's becoming a mess, this story, okay? I agree. Yeah. Oh! So what do you do now? But he was not a child when you were forcing him to have sex with Anne. I mean... What, look now. Whoa, Richard is going to cut her head, I guess. Whoa. No, I don't think that he wants. He wanted to accomplish his mom, but... yeah, he really seeked for attention. But he didn't have any sort of attention from his parents. Not at all. Whoa! Oh. What the F? No, I don't think that they wanted to kill him. Yeah, he wanted to reach Richard. Here we go. Look, I thought that he... Oh. Now he's going to finish him. Oh, I was telling you this. No halfway. Oh, 'That is the worst thing ever, to live in despair is the worst curse. Because this is the punishment from your god, I guess. Wow, okay guys, another great episode finished. First of all, Richard and his torment regarding what's going on. I think that Richard right now is facing a moment in which he or she has to decide what to do with his or her feelings. I think that this story is just a journey on Richard's feelings, because the more we go on, the more we understand. I keep using she so you understand what I mean. Her feelings, her pain, her suffering regarding not just the love she has for Harry, that is corresponded, but she has to go against it because otherwise there is the chance that she can't fulfill what her father wanted for her. So I think that it's pretty hard sometimes to choose between family and love, because most of the times the family is the core of your soul where you started, and your love is what you decided to start as a journey. I mean, there is a huge difference, because when you're born in a family, you couldn't choose that family, but you are still inside of something, like a core of something that is called family. And on the other side, when you love, you decided to love that person specifically, so it's coming from your own decision. And when these two things are matching, you're really lucky, because you don't have any problem, any sort of decision to make. But in the case of Richard, Harry is a Lancastrian and she's a Yorker, so she definitely has to choose where to stand. And the more we go on, the more these feelings versus reason is coming out, and she definitely has to make a choice. But at the beginning of this episode, you see how tremendous is the result. Richard just want to get drunk, because the more she gets drunk, the more she's not hearing these voices in her head. She's not paying attention on the reality. She wants to detach herself from it. And I understand her, definitely. I understand the fact that now there's no turning back, especially after she discovered who Harry is. And when she's saying, it was better not to meet him since the beginning. No, I don't think so. I think that actually Harry, by meeting her, changed her for better. And even if now she doesn't want to admit it to herself, she will in the future. So I think that even in this episode, you see that the two most important people for Richard, that means Harry and Anne, are appearing in her life, are jumping into her life, especially in this heavy moment. And once again, you see that Richard is not able to go against all of them. She can't go against Anne, no matter if she married a Lancastrian. She can't go against Harry, because she doesn't even want to kill his son at the beginning. And then we know what happened. But for Richard, it's really hard to put her feelings away when it's about to talk about these people. And I think that it will always be difficult. Right now, she killed Harry's son, and I was expecting this. I mean, if at the beginning we saw that she spared him, then I thought that, yeah, it was the best death for Edward. I think no other choice was better enough than this. And I think that Edward didn't want to be killed by somebody else. And in fact, he's confirming this at the end of the episode, that he definitely wanted to be killed by Richard and not by somebody else. I think that was the best way for him to rest in peace, also because we see in this episode the background story of Edward that is pretty heavy. I mean, we understand that he always seeked for attention, and he wanted to prove to his parents more than to himself that he was going to become a great king. And his parents were not standing next to his side. They were just increasing their expectations for him, but they didn't even love him as much as he wanted. And every time he was surrounded by these people who were not his parents, they were strangers for him. And all he really wanted was to have his father, his mother next to him, to praise him as much as maybe he saw that other kids were doing with their parents. So he wanted a family that was definitely something different from what he was having. And that's why his life was pretty miserable. I think that Edward was just a victim of this system, because Edward didn't choose to be born into the Lancastrian family, but he did, and he had no other choice rather than fulfill these parents' expectations. I mean, Margaret's expectations, because if we talk about Henry, we already know what kind of a person Henry was. He didn't even want to have a kid, but he was forced by Margaret to have one. Edward was having the same treatment by his mother, because his mother was forcing him to have a child with Anne. So, as you can see, it was a life full of impositions since the beginning. You have to become the king, you have to do this, you have to do that for the sake of Lancaster. I mean, all these things forced Edward to become so miserable, because there were no other good things that he could do rather than accomplish his mother's will. I feel sorry for Edward because he couldn't repair a relationship with his dad, because even if Henry has never wanted to have Edward in his life, I think that Henry thought that he was not a problem. I think that Henry thought that this kid was just the result of a relationship without love, and he was not guilty for this. So I hope that his dad could have talked to him once again, or that Edward could understand his father more than ever. But I think that in the last moments of his life he understood, because he was explaining us, I really wanted something in particular. And then the background story of him was starting. So I think that Edward, was just playing the role of the person who didn't understand his dad, who really wanted to stay next to his mom forever, but at the end of the day, I think that he had the complete frame of the painting in front of his eyes, and he understood many things. Another thing I want to say is regarding Anne. As you can see, once again, Anne is sacrificing herself for the sake of other people, and these other people are not even the people she loves, but she thinks that that's the best thing to do. So she's following Margaret's instructions, and I think that Anne is another miserable character, because she can't do what she really wants. That means to stay next to Richard and to have a great relationship with him, no matter if it's a friendship or no matter if it's love. She can't, because she is already married to Edward, and she has to follow her duties. At that time, I repeat you, it was like this. If someone was imposing you to do something, you had to go ahead with that. And you couldn't even rebel. You couldn't even say, no, I don't want to do that. Because you had to choose what it was about for you to choose based on other people's decisions. So what Margaret imposed her was what she had to do. And she couldn't escape from that, because the real fact, it was that Anne was married to Edward. So her feelings didn't matter anymore. No matter if she wanted to reach Richard or not, she couldn't do anything else rather than do so. But it was good for Anne to find a a partner in crime, because even Edward didn't want to force her to have sex with him. Even Edward understood what she really wanted to fulfill. He really understood her feelings. So I think that she was really lucky. Otherwise, if Edward was another kind of person, definitely he would have forced her more than ever. But yeah, I think she was really lucky at that time. While Margaret, I think she was a mom who really didn't deserve to have kids at this point, because Margaret was just imposing his kids to be the role model that she wanted to have in front of her eyes. She didn't respect them. She didn't even love them at this point, because how can you love a person if you are forcing him to have sex with a woman he doesn't love, for example? And at the end of the episode, she's saying, oh, he's just a child, spare him, please. No, because he was not a child when you were forcing him to have sex with a woman he didn't love. And you were doing this just for your personal interests, just because you really wanted to reach a super great status or to keep it as much as it was. So this was pretty disgusting. I think no great mothers could do something like this. And in fact, at the end, she is receiving this punishment from heaven, maybe from the God she was praying every time, from the God she was always loyal to. And as I was telling you many times, at that time, God was playing a great role. No matter if people believed in God or not, I mean, they were definitely believing that God exists, and they were doing everything based on this. They were loyal to God, and they thought that every sign they were capturing throughout the battles, throughout the preparations for the battles, even the role they were fitting was just a God's decision, as I was telling you already. But in this episode, you hear many times that Margaret is talking about God and the fact that she is just following what God wanted her to become, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, I think that even the punishment she's receiving at the end of the day, it's the result of karma. It's the result of everything that she did. And I think that Edward, the Yorker Edward, is right. I mean, death was the easiest path for her. If she had to be killed, that was too easy. She could escape so easily from her sins, from everything bad that she did, but if she could have stayed alive, she had to live in despair. And she had to remember every day how much she forced her husband to have a child that he didn't want, how much she forced her son to repeat the same mistake, and to understand that she created that family based on fake stuff and not because there was real love inside of it. I think that that's the worst punishment that a person can have. And the same sentence, this is my punishment, was said also by Richard at the beginning of the episode when she thinks that she's punished because from something. She thinks that she's punished by her destiny of what she's doing right now, because she, by being a Yorker, was falling in love with a Lancastrian, and we all know that these two sides can't combine, unfortunately, or maybe yes in the future. But as you can see, it's like as if these two female characters are facing a punishment because of their actions, in the case of Margaret, and because of their feelings, in the case of Richard. And I really like this story also because they are connecting the title of the episode with what's happening. And this title of the episode doesn't refer to one specific character, but all of them. If you put them together and if you analyze this sentence based on each character, you can find a great answer. I really like the way in which let's say, Edward died, because as you can see, no matter the bad life he had, and no matter the fact that he was just running in order to catch his mom and her appreciation, I think that at the end you see all these beautiful flowers surrounding him, and the only beautiful things he sees is Richard that is coming to kill him. Look, this is something that already anticipates me what I think about the ending of Shingeki no Kyojin, because even over there, I think that Eren wants that the only person that can kill him is Mikasa, and I think that even in that case, the only death or the only killer, let's say, that Eren can accept is his lover. Otherwise, if there's somebody else trying to kill him, it's not the same. But I think that if it's Mikasa, it's okay. And I think that in this story we saw the same thing, because Edward was accepting his death made by Richard. It was pretty sad because we know that Edward really loved Richard, but he was not corresponded because Richard loves his dad. So that's strange, okay? But at the end of the day, he could see Richard for the last time, and the last person who was seeing was Richard. I think that was the best way to end his life. And till the end, he really wanted to prove himself more than to his mother that he was different from his dad. And in fact, at the end, he kept repeating those meaningful sentences to all the Yorkers in order to prove his mom, but also to himself, I am different from my father, because my father abandoned us, because my father didn't want to understand what his role was, he didn't want to accept it, etc., etc. Edward was ready to be a king, but it was not good to be a king like this. If Edward could have had the chance to live his life with Richard peacefully as much as Henry wanted, yeah, I think that he didn't even care to become a king anymore. The point was that Edward wanted to become the king so he could have Richard on his side, in his opinion, even if it's not true. But he thought that by having this huge power, he could control everything, and he could even demand, he could order Richard to become his wife. He also understood that that was wrong, because you, who were forced by your mother to do something for the rest of your life, could not force another person to love you against his or her will. I think that that's a sad ending for his life, but that's how it should have been, in my opinion. Let's see what's going on, because you see, even in this episode, the brutality of war, and the fact that this war is becoming endless, because the more we go on, the more one side wants the revenge on the other one, and then let's start a battle. Then the other side wants the revenge on the other side, so let's start another battle. We know that the War of the Roses was lasting 100 years, and you know that this could have seemed endless. And in fact, in this episode, you see this. There's no escape from war. And even if Edward was protected somehow by his mom, especially at the beginning of the episode, you know that he doesn't want to get rid of these battles, and he joins because once again his mother was choosing for him, and that was totally wrong. At this point he had to choose for his own life, so everything you see from that moment after, it's all Edward's choice. For the first time in this episode, you see that Edward is like naked. I mean, he's naked because he took off all the responsibility, all the choices that other people were making for him, and he's choosing what to do, no matter if his mother approves or not. Talking about Margaret, I think that she was a controversial character. I mean, she still is because she's not dead, but you see that she understands how much she forced her son to do brutal things, brutal choices, and at the end of the day, she prefers to kill herself, I mean, to end her life instead of his son's destiny. She doesn't even want that Edward joins the battle because he's too young. She's even incoherent because of this, as I was telling you previously, but you see that at the end of the day, even Margaret is a mother. So the great role of the mom that wants to protect her son no matter what, etc., etc. So we could see for an instance even the kindness of this mother who understood maybe her mistakes, and she doesn't want to send him to the bottle. She doesn't want him to die because of her decisions. But she's deciding once again. I mean, by doing this, she's deciding once again for her son's destiny. And this is something that Edward can't stand anymore. She definitely prefers to sacrifice Edward's wife, because Edward's wife doesn't mean anything to her, instead of her son's life. You understand, even in this story, that when you have to protect your dearest people, you're able to do even the impossible. You're able to do even the worst things, because the mission you have, that means to protect your son in this case, is even more important than all the other people surrounding you. I mean, you don't even count these people as people. You just count them as someone who can be sacrificed instead of your son. And this is pretty sad, because you understand how human beings' lives are meaningless. I mean, in a second, the life of a person can be sacrificed for other people's sake, and this meaning of this life is zero. It doesn't mean anything. Then, last but not least, Richard that is meeting Anne. I mean, it's after such a long time, and she's seeing Anne that is protecting Edward instead. Because she doesn't even know that Anne married with Edward. She doesn't even know the kind of a relationship that Edward and Anne are starting to have. I mean, they decided to stay friends and to understand each other. I mean, there is not a marriage life between the two. But Richard doesn't know all of this. She doesn't know all the background story of what happened once she separated from Anne. Of course, now she's seeing a reality, a double reality in front of her eyes, in which another person she loves is taken away from her. Look, when she's saying, the Lancastrians are taking my dear people away from me, look, for a second, even if the parallelism is quite stupid, but it reminds me Nana. Do you remember even in Nana Osaki is saying almost the same thing regarding the trap nest band. I mean, she is also saying at that time why trap nest are going to take people away from me, the dearest people away from me. One person is Ren, and the other person is Nana Komatsu. So yeah, I in this sentence that Richard was saying, for a second, I jumped right into a Nana episode, and that was really nice. Okay, guys, I think that for this great episode, that is it. Hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned, because next week I come back with episode 12 of Baraou no Souretsu, Requiem of the Rose King. In the meantime, feel free to subscribe to the channel and click on the notification bell. Bye, guys. See you in the next video.